Hi, Amy Fashion Toppings, and I got this vest. I was thrifting, actually I have it inside out. I'm trying to figure out what to do with it. So I was thrifting when I was back in the Midwest, and my husband happens to have a shirt almost exactly like this. That was kind of a gag gift from somebody that has a pinup girl in the back, and it's Harley, but it's got the, look at these sleeves. It's got these fringy sleeves, but this is a men's XXX. And I already pinned underneath the armpit on this side, so this side I'm experimenting with, but it, I love the print. You know I love tie-dye denim. But in the back, it has the Sturgis logo. On the front it says 2010 Sturgis. My husband and I used to have a Harley, and we actually would go to Sturgis. It's kind of like Halloween for adults, because you get to dress in all your biker gear. So Harleys are a big thing in our house. And to find this at a thrift store with the denim tie-dye, it's screaming, make me fit. And so I'm doing another men's dress shirt or men's shirt size down video because I want to make this so I can wear it. The first thing I did so I could experiment with it is these armpits. Look at how long they are. I don't want to be showing all that. So I went ahead and I pinched it where I wanted the armpits to be, and I pinned it shut. But I need to work inside out so that I can do my pinch and pin method, or everybody's pinch and pin method, so I can do the pinch and pin method to get this to fit better. Now, I wanted to turn this into a halter top like this, a halter dress is what I really wanted to do with it, but I don't want to lose the logo. And any idea I kept on coming up with, I'd end up losing the part of the logo. And even to make it a halter top, I really love this shape of a top. That's what I was planning on doing with it. I would lose the originality. I would lose the Sturgis, South Dakota, Black Hills Rally 2010. I don't want to lose that. So I'm just gonna simply size it down and adjust the sleeves so I don't have this So, okay. So what I did is I just pinched it and put a safety pin underneath the armpit. That's how I want to shrink down the arms. You can see the armpit came down to here. See where I have it opened? And I put a safety pin up here to hold that shut, just so I can have a better idea of my actual arm size that I want to do. So next thing I need to do is pinch this armpit shut. I hate doing that because then my flags are flying. So I need to pinch underneath this armpit as well to see where I want it. And when you're pinning underneath your armpits, do it with a safety pin, because this, for some reason, this section will always want to pop open. And once that pops open, then you're stuck with having to almost start over. So I'm just putting a pin in there. There we go, got it. Okay, much better. Okay, already you can tell the difference. You're gonna be able to tell just how much fabric I'm gonna take off this. I'm gonna be taking off all of that. So, okay. Now I'm gonna do the pinch and pin in just a few places. And I'm gonna do a basting stitch and then go back and adjust from there if I need to. So, right there. Okay, make sure this side. I should have this all buttoned up, but I don't. Here we go. Okay, so I'm taking in a full thumb on this side, and I'll pinch in a full thumb on this side as well. Okay, I'm just using it as a guideline. Then after that, I'll, like I said, put in a basting stitch. I just want to get my silhouette points. You want to get your waist, you want to pin at your bust, your waist, and your hips, so that you know when you're drawing your line or doing your basting stitch, you know how your general curves are gonna go. So next I'm gonna get at my biggest part of my body is my hips. And you can see me fiddling a little bit. What I'm doing is making sure that I'm got my side seam pulled out. So I'm taking the same amount of distance from the front as I am from the back, so that I don't have a wonky, curvy side seam. So you want to pull it out, make sure your side seam is flat, So you're pulling the same from the front as the back. I'm gonna do it to this side too. And actually, I think all the way down, I'm gonna be taking a full thumb length all the way down. And when I say thumb length, I measure based on my fingers. So I'm taking from my thumb all the way to the crack here. From my thumb to here, that's how much I'm taking off. It's just easier when you're by yourself than trying to measure. I just do it based on my thumbs. If you got someone to help you, then they can measure. But it's hard to bend down. Once you bend to look at your tape measure, you've now moved your garment. So your measurements could be off. So if you do it by your thumb and then pinch it and hold it and then pin it, you've already measured it before you've moved. So this is what it's gonna look like. So it is so simple to size down a men's shirt. I should have had it buttoned all the way up and down. So, perfect. I'm gonna put in a temporary basting stitch all the way down. When I say basting stitch, a basting stitch in your sewing machine is your largest stitch. It's just a very loose stitch so that if you wanna make any changes, you just pop one stitch out and it's easy to remove. You don't have to do a lot of seam ripping. Okay, after I took it off, before I do my basting stitch, you can see my pink line. Okay, you can see that pink line right there. Let me zoom out again so you can see what I'm talking about. To make it easier to follow my basting stitch, I just laid my ruler down. That was my knees all cracking. I just laid my clear, I have a clear ruler, hopefully you can see it. I laid the ruler down and just drew a pink chalk line to connect all my lines. So you can see how it's actually veering out. So it's kind of like an A-line, it can be like an A-line look. But I'm gonna go ahead and take it to the sewing machine right now. Just stitch right along my pink line with the basting stitch and I'll be right back. Okay, so I took it in and I'm actually liking the sleeves now that I made the armhole smaller. So I made the armhole smaller. I only have a basting stitch in, so I still have that wadded up material in here. But I like the way it fits now, and I'm actually liking the fringe sleeves. I think I'm gonna leave them because it kind of goes with the jacket that I did that has the distressing on the bottom. But here's what I did. Now I have to run, I don't have a mirror in here, so I have to run to the bathroom, look in the mirror every time I do something. I had too straight of a boxy look in the back. So I'm pinning, let me take one out and I'll show you what I'm doing. Okay, so here you can see there's just like no shape. Here I have shape, here I really don't. But I don't want to cut in an hourglass because I want my side seam to be, see how straight my side seam is? So I'm actually going to take it in and put a dart in the back. It'll go from that to, I'm getting my own shirt caught in there, to that. I don't know if you can see the difference. It's just a slight hourglass, so it's not so boxy. So what I'm doing, I already have one kind of done, and you have to make sure this, you're gonna do a rough pinning, and then you're gonna lay it on the ground and measure to make sure that your two darts going down your back are equal distance from the side seam or equal distance from center back. You don't want to have one dart here and then one dart here. I mean, you have to have, you want it to be following your curves, but equal distance from center back. Hopefully that makes sense. So I pinched and pinned here, following the sway of my back. I pinched and pinned. Hopefully you can see me. And then I'm just following the sway of my back and then just pinching the fabric, making sure I don't have my shirt caught in it from underneath. And then I'm putting a pin there. I'll straighten it out once I lay it down. I just need a general idea. That's what basting stitches are for. And then I need to do the same thing to this side. Okay. And like I said, this is just, you know, if you have a friend that can help you, then it's easier, but I do all this stuff on my own, so it's all like trial and error. I'm hoping my shirt is not pinned in it, because I'm gonna go take it off, but I want to hold my shirt. Okay, right on the sway of my back, just pinching it and pinning it. Like I said, I'm just giving myself a rough idea, so when I take it off, I'll do it. Okay, so like I said, I just pinched and pinned along here the sway of my back, just to give me a little bit more figure. Okay, and I know you notice how I did it on the outside of the fabric? So I can see if I'm gonna be hitting my logo, I wanna see how it's gonna be hitting all the designs of the shirt. So now I'll take it off, and I'll show you what I'll do. This is why, this is just a rough pinning. So you have your pins on the outside. Let me see here, where's my pins? So you have the pins, see right here, boom. There's my little rough darting that I did. So that's on the outside. Turn it inside out. You have where it's pinned shut here. Everywhere you have a pin, you're gonna wanna make a chalk mark on both sides of the fabric, see? So that you can line those two back up and pin from the inside. I'll show you. Looks like I'm making little kisses. Okay, go to the next pin and chalk both sides of the fabric. When I say both sides, I mean both sides of the pinched fabric. Make sure both sides get it. And just chalk along your pin line. So when you take your pins out of the right side of the fabric, you know where to put them on the other side of the fabric. Gotta do that to the other side now. Okay. Okay, that'll allow me to measure my darts, how far apart they are, to make sure everything is symmetrical. So let me go ahead and take the pins out now. So I took the pins out. Now, see how you see a line there and a line there? That's on the wrong side of the fabric. Now you can take those two lines, you pinch them. So you have a pink line on one side and a pink line on the other. Make sure your two dots match up. And then you can stick a pin through it. So it should, theoretically, you put a pin through one pink line and you come out the other side of the fabric, you should be coming out on, see that pink line? So that is replacing exactly where the pin was on the other side of the fabric when you had it inside right. Now that inside out, you just moved your pin over, because I have a pink line there and I have a pink line there. That's how you move your pins from the right side of the fabric to the wrong side of the fabric. Okay, now I have my rough pinning of my darts from when I was wearing it. First thing you need to do is you need to find center back. So take your shirt, mine's inside out, there's my tag, match up your collars. Match up your collars in the front. So now like my tag is right in the center. And then pull it nice and tight. We're trying to find center back. Now, my basting stitches are my new side seams, so I'm gonna match those up. I'm matching those all up. And then pull tight. There's your center back. So what I did, I don't know if you can see it. See that green line? There's green right there. I made a dotted line all the way down the back of my shirt. Down the back of my shirt, I have, oh, you're not gonna be able to see it. Let me do it with pink. Okay. So you can see all these little pink marks here. That's where I had my pins. Bright pink line is my center front. And then I got my little rough pink marks over here where I had my pins. That was all my rough pinning when I was trying it on. Okay, now I need to figure out where I want my darts. So I have my rough pin marks. I'm gonna measure from center back out to my first pin mark, which is mine is 5 inches. And let me do this one from center back. I was way off with being centered. Okay, I'm gonna mark it out 5 inches. Because I want my darts to be equal. So I went 5 inches from center back, 5 inches from center back. That's my first dart. And I had pinched quite a bit of fabric. I pinched almost 2 inches. So I need to go out 2 inches and make another mark. I'm just moving my pins from my rough draft. I know this probably doesn't make sense, but I need to make sure that all of my pins are equal distance from center back. Okay, my next set of pins that I took out, my little mark, is 4 inches out. And wow, it's pretty close there. 4 inches out. And I pinched 2 inches. So I'm gonna mark that 2 inches. Okay, I'm just going down and just making sure all my darts are 3 inches. Okay, that's gonna be a little off. Okay, so I just wanna make sure my pins are equal distance from center back. Okay, and since I'm gonna be using basting stitches, it's all trial and error until I get it right. Okay, now, you don't want a pucker at the top and a pucker at the bottom, so it's going to be like a curved dart where we start with like no fabric and then we pinch fabric to no fabric. Okay. So my first dart starts right at my armpit. Where my armpit begins is where I'm starting my first dart. So I'm going to grab it and I'm going to pinch so that my 2 pink lines, my pin marks, there we go. I just pin them together. Because I did my rough darting, so I know how much fabric I want to pinch out. Right now I'm just making sure it's straight. My last dart. Okay, so that's how much fabric I'm going to be taking out. I just made a little dart. So I'm going to take my pin line. Fold it. So there's my dart. I have got my pin line right here. Ouch. Yeah, got my pin line right there. I'm just going to slope it from nothing, follow the pin line, and then slope back out to nothing. And I'm just gonna sketch it out. And then, oh, I used green again. I'm gonna sketch it out and then I'm gonna copy that to the other side. Following my pin line. Okay, let me zoom in so you can see. Here we go. So there's my pins. There's a pin there, a pin there, and a pin there. So what I did is I took my chalk line, went off my fold, sloped it in, followed my pin line, and sloped it back off. And I'm gonna try to make it gradual so I don't have too much puckering. Okay, so I'll go over to this side. I need to pin. Mark up my little chalk lines. I like using safety pins because they don't fall out. Okay, so I have that pin line done. Now I want to measure, just to double check from each pin to center front. Make sure they're equal, and they are. I got 5 inches on each side. Okay, so now do the same thing to this one. I gotta do my slope. And I kind of look at my other one. I'm kind of folding my other one over here so I can kind of copy it. Making sure my bottom seam is, everything's matched up for the most part. Go from nothing. Follow my pin line. Normally I use a couple different colors so I can tell what is an old chalk line and what is a new one. But since only pink shows up in the camera, I gotta do it all the same. So you can see my dart here now matches my dart here. So what I'm gonna do is take this to the sewing machine. I'm gonna start sewing at the bottom dart. I'm gonna start at the bottom and then I'm gonna curve. I'm just gonna follow that with the basting stitch. Everything's with a basting stitch so we can take it apart. Okay, I finished the darts. And I trimmed off the fabric. I did put my permanent stitches in because of the fact that to fit the way I wanted it to. I just wanted to show you the darts. It's just a simple seam of material. And I cut off the excess fabric. And you'll see it's kind of a swoop. So I started off the fabric, followed my line, and then tapered it back off the fabric. So it's kind of a U-shaped. That's my back dart so that I can follow the curve of my back. So let's try it on. I trimmed off the excess fabric. And I know I originally was gonna change the sleeves, but I really like them. Okay, button it up. It needs to be ironed. So let's see how this fits. And like, I got my silhouette here. So it follows my curves. Let's see how the back turned out. So it's nice and smooth. You wanna iron your seam open so it lays nice and flat, but you can hardly even see the darts. It follows the sway of my back. You can do a zigzag stitch. I'll insert a picture, it's gonna be hard to see. You can do your zigzag stitch to keep it from fraying along all of your cut edges. And that's it. I like how it turned out. I could wear this as an open jacket, which I have a ton of these. Y'all know I do a lot of denim projects. So I can wear this as an open jacket. Or I can leave it buttoned up as a dress. Well, this is Amy with another Refashioned project, and yes, it involves downsizing another men's shirt and it involves denim. My favorite things right now. But since I was doing this project for me, I wanted to share it with you. Well, once again, Amy with Fashion Toppings. Until next time, you have a great day.